Welcome to our channel. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more English stories. Once upon a time, there was a man who had 2 wives. One day his first wife became ill. She called her 2 children and said to them, "My dear children, soon I will die. Now kiss me and say good."
Bye.
Her children were very sad. "Mother," they said, "our father's second wife hates us. If she doesn't give us food, what shall we do?" "Don't worry," their mother said. "When you're hungry, go into the forest. You'll find someone to feed you there." The mother died and the 2 boys cried for many days. Then they went to their father's second wife. "Please," they said, "we're hungry. Let us eat with you." "What?" said their stepmother. "You want me to give you food? I don't have enough for my children. Go away. I haven't got anything for you." The younger brother began to cry. "I'm hungry," he said to his older brother. "I want something to eat." His older brother took his hand. "Don't worry," he said. "Remember what our mother said. We'll go into the forest and find someone to feed us there." So the 2 children went into the forest, and there they found a cow. The cow was very kind to them. Every day she gave them food to eat. The children were happy. They were never hungry. Now, the children of the second wife could not understand it. "Who feeds you?" they asked their brothers. "Why are you never hungry? And why do you go to the forest every day?" One morning the oldest girl said, "I'm coming with you to the forest today. I want to know where you find your food." Her 2 stepbrothers tried to stop her. "No, don't come. They said you'll be tired and hungry. We don't do anything in the forest. We have no mother to give us food, so we just walk all day until we're tired." But their sister asked them again and again. So at last they agreed to take her. They walked about in the forest all day until they came to the home of the cow. The older boy didn't want to tell his stepsister about the cow. He wanted to keep the secret. But his little brother was very hungry. And he said, "Please, I'll die if I don't have some food. Call the cow and let's eat." So they called the cow and she came and gave food to the brothers, and they ate it. When they got home, the children's stepsister said to her mother, "I know my brother's secret. There's a cow in the forest who gives them food every day." The next day, the woman went to her husband. "Husband," she said, "you know that I'm pregnant and our new baby will soon be born. I need to eat very good food. If I don't eat well, the baby won't be strong. Bring me the cow from the forest." "What cow?" Her husband said, "I don't have a cow." His wife became angry. "I know your secret. She said, "I want the cow that feeds your children." So her husband brought the cow from the forest and gave it to his wife. "Kill it," she said. "I must eat its meat to make my baby strong." Her husband tried to argue with her, but she didn't listen to him. At last he agreed to kill the cow. He picked up his knife and cut the cow's throat. But the cow refused to die. Then his wife said, "If the cow doesn't die, I will kill your 2 children." When the children heard this, they said, "Let the cow die." And she died. The woman tried to skin the cow, but the skin refused to come off the meat. "If the skin doesn't come off the dead cow," the woman said, "I will kill the children." When the children heard this, they said, "Let the skin come off," and the skin came off. The dead cow. The woman put the meat into the pot and tried to cook it, but the meat refused to cook. "If the meat doesn't cook, I will kill the children," said the woman. When the children heard this, they said, "Let the meat cook," and the meat began to cook. When the meat was cooked, the woman tried to take the pot off the fire, but the pot didn't move. "If the pot doesn't come off the fire, I will kill the children," said the woman. When the children heard this, they said, "Let the pot come off the fire," and it came off the fire. Then the woman took the meat out of the pot and ate it. The 2 brothers were worried. "Now our stepmother has killed our cow and now she wants to kill us." They said, "We must run away." So they ran away into the forest. There they lost each other. One brother went one way. The other went another way. Years passed and the brothers grew up. The younger brother went away, but the older brothers stayed near the forest. One day, as the older brother was walking near a village, he saw a girl and he fell in love with her. She was the daughter of the chief. The chief had many daughters, but this one was the most beautiful of them all. The young man began to meet the girl secretly, and she fell in love with him. 2. Now there was a war between the villages. At that time, every night when it was dark, enemies came to fight against the village where the chief and his daughter lived. So every night the young man came to fight for the chief. One day the chief said to his men, "Who is the stranger who comes every night and fights beside me? I want to meet him. Ask your daughters." His men said they will know. So the chief told everyone to come to a meeting. When they were all together, he called his daughters and said to them, "Bring your husbands and your lovers here so that I can see them all." So all the chief's daughters came with their husbands and their lovers. But the young man from the forest, who loved the chief's most beautiful daughter, had smallpox, and he was very ill. He sat far away from the others, and did not look up at the chief. The chief's beautiful daughter ran up to him and took his hand. "What are you doing?" said the chief. "Come away from that man. He has smallpox." "Good father," said the girl. "This is the man who fights beside you every night." He is brave and strong. I love him and I want to marry him." The chief was angry when he heard this. He didn't want his daughter to marry a man with smallpox. He began to shout at her. Then he stopped. Everyone was looking at him. "What's the matter?" asked the chief. "Why are you all looking at me?" "You're your head, sir," the people said. "Look. It's growing. It's getting bigger and bigger." The chief put his hands up to his head. It was true. His head was growing bigger and bigger. "Please, father," his daughter said. "Please let me marry this man. If you don't let me marry him, your head will grow and grow. If you do, it will become the right size again." Everyone said, "Yes, sir. Let her marry the young man. Do what she says." So the chief agreed to the marriage. At once his head stopped growing and became the right size again. Then the young man and the chief's daughter were married. And they lived happily ever after. The boy leaned over and kissed Lily on the forehead, and she smiled, feeling a warmth in her heart that she had never felt before. She knew that she had finally found her home, and that she would never have to feel alone again. As they sat there holding each other close, they knew that their love was a beautiful thing, something that would last forever. They knew that they had been given a second chance, and they were determined to make the most of it. And so they sat under the old tree, watching the stars and dreaming of the future. They would build together. The night was calm, and the stars above seemed to whisper promises of happiness and love. The forest around them was quiet, except for the soft rustling of leaves and the gentle breeze. It felt as if the whole world had paused, giving them a moment of perfect peace. Lily leaned her head on the boy's shoulder, feeling safe and content. She had spent so many years feeling lost and alone, but now, with him by her side, everything seemed clear and full of hope. She thought about the old tree and how it had brought them together. It was as if the tree had known they were meant for each other, guiding them to this moment. The boy, too, was deep in thought. He held Lily close, marveling at how lucky he was to have found her. He thought about his dreams, how they had led him to her, and how everything now seemed to make sense. He believed that their meeting was not just a coincidence, but something destined to happen. A love story that had begun long before they were born. As the night wore on, the boy told Lily about the dreams he had been having. In one dream, he saw them living in a small, cozy house at the edge of the forest with a garden full of flowers. In another, he saw them growing old together, surrounded by children and grandchildren. Each dream was a glimpse of a future filled with love and happiness. Lily listened to him, her heart swelling with emotion. She could picture the life he described, and it made her feel more hopeful than ever. She had spent so long fearing the unknown, but now, with him, the future seemed bright and full of possibilities. But as the night grew darker, a strange feeling began to creep into Lily's heart. It was a feeling she couldn't quite explain. A sense that something was still missing. She tried to push the thought away, focusing on the boy's warm presence beside her. But the feeling persisted, nagging at her as if trying to tell her something important. She looked up at the old tree, its branches swaying gently in the breeze. The tree had given her so much comfort, guidance, and now love. But she couldn't shake the feeling that the tree still had one more secret to reveal, something that could change everything. The boy noticed the look on Lily's face and gently asked her what was wrong. She hesitated, not wanting to spoil the perfect moment, but she knew she couldn't keep her feelings from him. She told him about the strange sensation she felt, how it seemed like the tree had one more story to tell. The boy listened quietly, nodding as she spoke. He understood what she meant because he felt it too. A sense that their journey wasn't quite over yet. He suggested that they spend the night under the old tree, hoping that it might reveal whatever it was holding back. Lily agreed, and they settled down on the soft grass, using each other's warmth to keep the cold at bay. The forest was dark around them, but they felt safe under the trees. Protective branches. As they drifted off to sleep, they both hoped that the answers they sought would come to them in their dreams. Lily found herself standing in the middle of the forest. But this time it was different. The trees were taller. The air was thicker, and the ground beneath her feet felt ancient. She knew this place, but it wasn't the forest she had walked through before. It was older, more mysterious, as if she had stepped back in time. As she wandered through the forest, she heard the familiar whispering again. But this time it wasn't coming from the tree. It was coming from somewhere deep within the forest, calling her to follow. She hesitated for a moment, fear gnawing at her heart. But then she remembered the boy's comforting presence, even though he wasn't with her in this dream. She could feel his love giving her strength. She followed the whispers, walking deeper and deeper into the ancient forest. The trees grew thicker, their branches forming a canopy that blocked out the sky. The air was cool and the ground was covered in soft, damp moss. Lily felt as though she was being led to something important, something that would change everything. After what felt like hours of walking, she finally reached a small clearing. In the center of the clearing stood a stone altar covered in ivy and moss. It looked like it had been there for centuries, forgotten by time. The whispers grew louder as she approached the altar, and she felt a sense of dread mixed with curiosity. On the altar was a single glowing stone. It was small and round, emitting a soft golden light. Lily reached out to touch it, feeling its warmth beneath her fingers. As soon as she did, the whispers stopped and the forest fell into complete silence. Suddenly the stone began to glow brighter, and Lily felt a surge of energy coursing through her body. Images flashed before her eyes. Memories that weren't her own but felt deeply familiar. She saw herself and the boy. But they were different. Dressed in clothes from another time. They were laughing, holding hands and walking through the same ancient forest. But then the images changed, showing them being separated, pulled apart by forces they couldn't control. Lily's heart ached as she watched the scenes unfold. Realizing that these were memories from their past lives, they had been lovers once, long ago, but something had torn them apart. Now, in this life, they had been given a second chance to find each other again. But the images didn't stop there. Lily saw the boy standing in front of the stone altar, just as she was now. He was holding the glowing stone, tears streaming down his face. He whispered something and the stone's light dimmed, its energy fading away. The boy placed the stone on the altar, and as he did, the forest around him began to change, becoming the forest that Lily knew. The forest where they had found each other in this life. Lily realized that the stone held the power to connect their souls, to bring them together across lifetimes. But it also held the power to keep them apart. The boy had sacrificed their love in the past, hoping to protect her from a great danger. And now the stone was giving her the choice to keep their love in this life or to release it, ensuring that they would meet again in the next. Tears filled Lily's eyes as she understood the gravity of the decision before her. She loved the boy with all her heart and didn't want to lose him again. But she also knew that their love was strong enough to survive anything, even time itself. As she stood there, the forest around her began to fade and she heard the boy's voice calling her name. The dream was ending and she had to make her choice. She reached out to the glowing stone, feeling its warmth one last time. With a deep breath, she made her decision. Lily woke up with the start, her heart pounding in her chest. The boy was still asleep beside her, his hand resting gently on hers. She looked at him, her love for him filling her with a deep sense of peace. She knew what she had to do gently. She woke the boy and told him about her dream. She told him about the stone, the memories of their past lives, and the choice she had made. The boy listened, his eyes filled with love and understanding. He knew that whatever Lily had decided, it was the right choice. They both knew that their love was special, something that had lasted through lifetimes. And they knew that whatever the future held, they would face it together. Hand in hand, as the first light of dawn began to break through the trees. Lily and the boy stood up and walked back to the old tree. They stood there for a moment, looking up at its ancient branches. Feeling a deep sense of gratitude, the tree had brought them together, giving them the chance to love again. And for that they were forever thankful. Lily reached out and touched the tree's bark, whispering a quiet thank you. She felt the tree's warmth beneath her fingers, as if it was acknowledging her gratitude. She knew that the tree had been watching over them, guiding them to this moment, and she felt a deep connection to it. The boy took Lily's hand, and together they walked out of the forest, ready to face whatever life had in store for them. They knew that their love was strong enough to overcome any obstacle, that they had been given a second chance to be happy together. As they left the forest behind, they knew that they would never forget the lessons they had learned there. They would carry the love they had found with them, cherishing it, protecting it, and nurturing it for the rest of their lives. And as they walked into the light of a new day, they knew that their love was a beautiful thing, something that had lasted through time and would continue to grow. No matter what challenges they faced, they knew that they were meant to be together. That their souls were forever intertwined in that moment. Lily and the boy understood that love was not just about being together in this life. It was about the connection between two souls, a bond that could not be broken even by time itself. They knew that their love would continue to shine, guiding them, protecting them, and keeping them together forever. and always. And so they walked into the future with hope in their hearts, knowing that no matter what happened, they would always have each other. Their love was a gift, a treasure that they would carry with them for the rest of their lives. And they were determined to cherish it, nurture it, and protect it, no matter what. In the quiet of the morning, as the first rays of sunlight touched the earth, Lily and the boy made a promise to each other. They promised to love each other, to support each other, and to always be there for each other. No matter what challenges they faced, they promised to never let go of the love they had found and to always remember the lessons they had learned in the forest. With that promise in their hearts, they walked forward, hand in hand, ready to face whatever the future held. They knew that their love was strong enough to overcome anything, that they were meant to be together, and that nothing could ever change that. And so their story continued. A beautiful tale of love, hope, and the power of the human heart. They knew that their love was eternal, a bond that would last through lifetimes. And they were determined to make the most of the second chance they had been given. As they walked into the light, they knew that they would always be there for each other, no matter what. And in the quiet of the morning, as the world around them began to wake up, they knew that they had found something truly special. A love that would last forever. And so the story of the alone girl and the boy who loved her came to an end. But their love, their connection would continue to shine, guiding them, protecting them, and keeping them together forever and always. In the end, they realized that love was the greatest gift of all. Something that could overcome any obstacle. Something that could last through time itself. They knew that their love was a beautiful thing, something that would continue to grow and flourish, no matter what challenges they faced. And as they walked into the future, hand in hand, they knew that they had found something truly special. A love that would last forever.